Business did pick up to a degree from there, but both of our coaches are living the hard days of the rebuild at the moment. So we thank you for coming in. Brad Scott, welcome.
Pleasure, thank you.
Adam Muse, good to see you.
Thanks, Gerard.
You got Peter Wright news tonight. No good on the injury front.
Yeah, no, it's not good. He's in the first quarter. He actually got a knock in the knee in the ruck, which looked like a PCL mechanism, that knee on knee. He managed to play out the game under some duress, but the scans have shown a bit of PCL and MCL damage, so he definitely won't play this week, and we're hopeful it's only a couple of weeks, but yeah, not good news.
Was it centre bounce? Was it the centre ball up? Are you worried about that at all? The fact that there is a bit more of it coming together? Both of you, I suppose.
Always got to be careful what you wish for. I mean, I think for the look of the game, I think the centre bounces look better with rucks, showing their aerial ability and their leap and all those things, which was taken away from them under the old rule. So, but my mind goes back to Adam Goodes, who was, probably took the competition by storm playing as a athletic ruckman. And then when he did a PCL, Sydney just took him out of the ruck, or certainly out of centre bounces. So, yeah, there's always unintended consequences.
First quarters.
Who wants to start?
I don't.
Well, what were you feeling when you went to the huddle at quarter time?
I mean, it's probably as animated and direct as I think I've been in my head coaching career, but very, very pre-planned and methodical. But sometimes you need to snap guys out of the malaise that they're in. And I mean, to put it bluntly, we were uncompetitive at stages in the first quarter, not just in terms of, skill execution and scoreboard uncompetitive in the contest, both aerially and at ground level. And that as a coach, I mean, that's attitude. It's not even effort. It's a mindset, and we didn't have that in the first quarter. And we turned it around after that, but it was too little, too late.
And I guess I know you weren't happy with yours either. So there'd be a heap of just, regional, suburban footy players and coaches watching this going, I expect that to happen at Croydon West, not at Essendon and not at Richmond. And we've all had those quarters, by the way, so I'm not absolving myself, but how does it happen? How do you get to the stage where you're preparing, you've ticked every box, you're looking at them in the eye and you know what's at stake, it's a big game at MCG, and then that happens? How does that still happen? Yeah,
well, I mean, the simple answer is if it didn't happen, you'd be a top 14.
Right.
So when you're not where you want to be, it's symptomatic to have fluctuations in performance from quarter to quarter, game to game, even moment to moment. And that's what, I don't want to speak for Adam, but that's what we're working really hard to eradicate and to be able to play consistent football over 120 plus minutes.
So I can see it everywhere, but in game you can, because there's adversity and this and that, and you've been beaten once or twice and you can be a bit fragile, but not pre-game, when you're in control of everything. Not you, but the club's in control of everything, the players in control of their build-up, and yet you go out and it's, as you point out, and as I think it was Mason Redmond said, we were timid at the ball. I mean, that's just an indictment. So that's what I can't quite understand. I understand your point.
Yeah.
I see it more often. I can see it during game, but pre-game I'm going, well, we can get beaten, but we've got to be having a crack.
No, and that's what, they're all the reasons for whether you're a young team, whether you're just not quite good enough at this stage, or all of those things which, and I said post-game in the press conference, you can reluctantly understand that at least. But what I don't think any coach can accept is a lack of commitment to the contest, because that doesn't require any talent. It just requires a mindset. So that was the most disappointing thing about our first quarter. Now, again, the team responded to that, but, we let the game slip away from us in that first quarter.
Do you take that, do you take it personally, yourself, as part of everyone's got their own responsibilities. Ultimately, it's your responsibility to have them ready to go. Or is that...
The start, 100%.
You do?
Yeah, no doubt.
So did you get something wrong?
Well, we reviewed that as coaches today. I think in game, like when you've got a young list or a young team, we've battled to obviously perform for 4 quarters and be real consistent across 4 quarters, but that's happened in game. Like against Adelaide, it was really strong for a half a game, and then we lost our way for a quarter, and then we made some adjustments and responded. But when it happens at the start of the game, I'm looking at myself. I've got to look within and say, how did I prepare him? Did I prepare him the right way? Did we train the right way? All these different things.
Did you do anything different this weekend?
We did a little bit. We had to change our training a little bit based on personnel and the drills that we did. And then I'm looking at it today and it's like, well, maybe that hasn't set them up the right way. But in saying that, like I said, at quarter time for us on the weekend, I look at numbers and system and method. But when you look at the scoreboard, we're 5 goals to 2. So, but when you've got young players, I'm looking at Tommy Burton, I'm looking at Liam Fawcett, I'm looking at Sam Grill. And if they just go base that on the scoreboard, we're going okay. But when it's 22 inside 50s to 3, this could just become an avalanche. So I got really animated, and I hope there isn't any vision of it, but I got animated. I actually hit our whiteboard and it hit Tim Livingston in the nose and cut his nose and a bit of claret.
Before you're off here.
Like, we had a bit of fun about it today, but even then it's just like the emotion was right, but the action was wrong. But our players needed to get a spark. So you always, and I'll keep preaching this, our effort and intent needs to be at a level, and that shouldn't drop no matter who we play. Our system and method might drop off, but when I feel like it's attitude or intent or our contest, because you can control that, then obviously it's going to spark a different emotion.
Is that what you're talking to Noah Bolter about? Like this is captured and this is what you're saying? And I'm not. I think this is great.
Yeah, well, this was a little bit different. Like this was, I felt like Noah's been terrific for us the last month. We've thrown him into the ruck, and I felt in the first quarter he was trying too hard. His heart was in the right space, and his timing of his jumping, and he was going for marks, and it looked like he was flying 10 minutes too early. So he's like I said, his attitude and intent was right, but just the way he was executing was wrong. So he just needed to take a breath and just temper that. That effort, so it just needed to be measured. And his response after quarter time, I highlighted at half time, was exactly what we wanted. He knew the contest that he needed to provide, and he knew the leadership he needed to provide out on the field. He just needed a bit of a reset. So we had that discussion. Like I said, the response was terrific.
So first quarter to the 3 quarters that follow, we've got some numbers here around contest and ground ball and time inside 50. What do you do with it? So that's what it looked like at quarter time. And then after you have your say with the group, and they do rise to the cause after that, and it's pretty well green thereafter. When you go back to them now, what do you do with that?
Oh, well, I mean, you're always looking for evidence to back up system, method and what you're looking to do. But I mean, if you can't compete in the contest, almost nothing else matters because you can't control the game, you can't get it on your terms, you can't defend the opposition if they're constantly bombarding you. And we conceded, and this is not necessarily what I'm talking about with the contest either, but we conceded the first 2 centre bounce goals of the game. Puts you on the back foot right from the start. So I mean, look, in terms of trying to, look, I think the exciting thing for us is, again, that those numbers are on the back of 18-year-olds setting the tone and changing the course of the game, at least, to get it back somewhat with numbers like that. But, when you're playing a side that's won 8 in a row as a high-quality side, and when they get on top of you, they put you to the sword, it's hard to come back from that.
Big picture, you're both 1-9 as you come together on Friday night. Essendon's scenario feels a little bit different to Richmond's at the moment. You have been unflinching in your commitment to the long-term, meaningful rebuild. Do you believe the club will remain similarly steadfast with you to see it through?
Well, yeah, I would expect that because everyone's been part of this strategy and part of this plan. And it's somewhat interesting to me. I mean, I hear people talk about, do we know where we're at? Well, we made a very, very conscious decision at the end of 2023 that we needed to reset our list. We went to the draft. In that draft, netted Archie Roberts and Nate Caddy, and then the next year we went to the draft. In fact, traded a future pick to Melbourne, still brought in Isaac Kako and others, and the future pick and actually trading a live second-round pick that year netted us 3 top 10 picks this year. So to me, it's crystal clear what we did at the end of 2023, and we also made some changes to the older players to our list to the point where we won't have a player retire, at least voluntarily, for the next 2 or 3 years, at least. because that's what our list currently looks like. So my commitment, and I think it takes a special kind of lunatic to actually lead this sort of thing, because if you weren't focused on the club's future and it was about just you and your position, you'd have a very different strategy. You'd go and get as many experienced players and high quality players as you could for the short term. We didn't do that. I fully endorse that strategy and support it, and I'm tasked with the responsibility of leading it, and I intend to see it through.
Do you think your supporter base is getting, not that they make the decision, but do you think they're getting impatient?
Yeah, it's hard not to say that Essendon supporters, how could they not be impatient?
So what's your message to them then?
Well,
be patient.
Well, no. The thing is, you can't. There's nothing I can do about the previous 25 years. All right, what I can do is help set that strategy and lead that strategy from the end of 2023 through. And the supporters can get really excited watching Sullivan Roby and Jacob Farrow and Dyson Sharp and Isaac Kako and Nate Caddy and Archie Roberts. So they're the guys that we brought in those last couple of years. And they're the guys who are going to help lead us into our future. And, as I said, we could have adopted a very different strategy. And it's certainly no disrespect but if you go back the last 12 years at Essendon, because maybe it's because we're a big club, maybe it's because the club felt we had to be really bold and aggressive and bounce out of the supplement saga. But we've done that repeatedly, and we've traded away picks, we've brought in players from other clubs, and we haven't gone to the draft on a consistent basis. And that's what we decided to do at the end of 2023. And that's what our supporters can hang their hat on. And they can hang their hat on those draftees and the players they're going to be for us now and in the future.
Are there weeks like the 3 coming where you do have to win, where all the planning of the future, you've got to get something in the here and now?
Yeah, well, I mean, we want to win every week. But let's say, for example, you invert that question and say that rather than do we have to win, what if we do win them all? And we win them convincingly? What changes?
Well, then they say, well, yeah, the supporters say, yeah, well, I'm with you now.
Yeah, but not one thing changes in the strategy that we're doing going forward.
Yeah, so you're unapologetic and you're very clear. Do you think the club's with you? Like, you sense that they are with you the whole way?
Look, again, the fortunate thing for us is our president was on the board. Wasn't president, but he was on the board when this strategy was put together. And our CEO was on the board when the strategy's put together. So they are all in on it. But I don't think like that.
No.
Because it's just unhelpful. My job is to lead this strategy through, and I just do my job. I don't worry too much about what might happen in the future.
Are there caveats? Are there markers that are conditional on you at the moment?
No. We have KPIs as everyone would hope we would. And in my 15 or so odd years of being a head coach, I always present a set of KPIs to the board to measure progress. And so we have that, but no KPIs have been issued to me.